ballot, I felt like there was a primary.
Still on the ballot.
Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah. I'll be honest. I gotta get one vote. Yeah.
One for yourself.
Nobody votes for me, I guess I don't.
I'm not gonna vote for that. Sorry.
Just sit back in there, so.
Yeah, but it's right, yeah.
That clock's fast. Thank you. We'll call to order the committee of the whole meeting of Tuesday, April 5th, beginning at 7 p.m. Present are all of council, the mayor, directors Grow, Upton, Schofield, Kidd, Carney, and guests. This evening we're going to discuss ARPA funding. I wanted to remind council though that tonight's meeting is more of a presentation by the mayor. And there will be a finance committee scheduled this evening where we can get in depth with questions. So with that said, I'll turn it over to the mayor.
All right, thank you. Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to present my administration's proposal for the City of North Olmsted's allocation of the American Rescue Plan Act funding. Max actually has a handout that he's going to distribute. And I'll just give a brief overview, sort of just a reminder of what the American Rescue Plan Act, which was signed actually in March of last year. There is about $350 billion of the $1.9 trillion economic stimulus that was allocated to the state and local fiscal recovery funds. And so what that means for the City of North Olmsted, we expect a total allocation of approximately $3.2 million from those funds to be received in two equal tranches of $1.6 million each. So the administration intends to present a City Council plan for each tranche of funding as it's received. And the allowable uses of funding through the ARPA plan include replacing the lost public sector revenue, support the COVID-19 public health and economic response, provide premium pay for eligible workers performing essential work, and invest in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. So this proposal is based on four key principles: investing in public safety, economic development, reinvesting in our neighborhoods, and improving our city services. I decided to run for mayor because the status quo was simply unacceptable. When the residents spoke last November, they made their voices heard, and keeping the lights on at City Hall just wasn't going to cut it anymore. The American Rescue Plan funding is a once-in-a-generation opportunity to set forward a bold vision for the future of our city. Utilizing this funding to pave, for example, less than 1% of roadway or to fund capital expenditures that have been delayed or not budgeted for properly over the years is a non-starter. The time is now to be bold and dare greatly to chart a new vision for North Olmsted. So let's start with public safety. First, investing in public safety means that we provide the resources necessary to ensure that our safety forces can remain fully staffed during an anticipated wave of retirements over the next 3 years, specifically within our police division. During the pandemic, violent crime, petty theft, and moving violations have all increased when compared to pre-pandemic levels. That's why I'm including City Council's proposal for a 3-year funding commitment set aside to recruit, train, and equip 2 additional officers above our currently authorized manning of 48 officers in the presentation that you see before you this evening. That's step 1. Step 2 is to fully operationalize the security camera registration and mapping system, also known as SCRAM. Many members, including Andrew Williamson, who sponsored that legislation a number of years ago, voted to implement a security camera registration system. This program was a much needed addition to the eyes on the street theory of policing. However, to fully realize the potential of this program, we need to leverage the capabilities of the geographic information systems, or otherwise known as GIS technology, to map the locations of all registered cameras in the city. This will give our law enforcement officers access to information in real time, helping them solve crimes quicker, and get those individuals that are a threat to the safety and property of the citizens of our city off the street and behind bars where they belong. In addition to the mapping, it is important that we conduct a public information campaign to raise awareness about the program. This campaign will serve 2 objectives. The first is to let citizens know what the camera registry is and why it's beneficial to register their camera with our police department. Second is to let the criminals know that cameras are everywhere in North Olmsted. This is a program that is endorsed by our police chief and should be expanded to leverage modern technology. The next area I'd like for you to focus on is economic development. The second core principle of my plan is advancing economic development. It bears repeating in this meeting that the administration fully intends to fund an economic development strategic plan to guide the post-pandemic recovery of our economy. The city has received several compelling responses and is vetting the proposals right now with the intention to fully fund the engagement through the American Rescue Plan Act. We need to take action to refill our storefronts and attract new businesses. When attracting retail investment, our city has been punching with one hand tied behind our back for far too long. Last year, this council fought for and succeeded in creating a small business grant program. That was an important step forward. And now I'm asking this council to take a giant leap with me and support the creation of the Fix Our Fronts storefront renovation program. This rebate-based grant program is one that is utilized by nearly every surrounding community. It's time that we have that tool at our disposal to attract and retain investment in our storefronts. Neighboring communities see a 2-to-1 ratio of private to public investment. The City of Cleveland, a regional pioneer in programs of this type, has been operating a program like this for a number of years. A quick Google search will show you that Parma Heights, Cleveland Heights, Shaker Heights, Olmsted Falls, Olmsted Township, South Euclid, and Fairview Park all have similar programs. It's time we compete on a level playing field with our neighbors. Between 2017 and 2020 in the city of Cleveland, 136 businesses were assisted through this program, resulting in over $3 million in private investment in retail storefronts and the creation of over 1,100 jobs in the city of Cleveland, with over 60% of the jobs openings filled by residents of the city of Cleveland. Again, this is the bold action that I feel is needed here in North Olmsted. Half measures are not going to cut it. This is precisely what the American Rescue Plan funds were set aside to do as well. The next item I would like for council to look at is reinvesting in our neighborhoods. Our community's housing stock is aging, and we are home to many seniors that want to stay in their homes. Caring for our seniors must be a priority. This means that keeping our city affordable for residents on fixed incomes and helping seniors find ways to maintain and reinvest in their homes here. Additionally, middle-class homeowners are hurting from the after effects that COVID-19 has on our economy. It's no secret that prices are up across the board. Many households have delayed costly home improvement projects, such as driveways and windows, roofs, repairs to mechanical systems. Many in our city are one system failure away from financial hardship. We know that a vast majority of our homes here in North Olmsted are at least 40 years old, and that an overwhelming number of senior citizens are living in these older homes. Failure to act now and provide meaningful assistance to homeowners that want to improve their homes would only exacerbate the issues that we currently face. We do not want to get into a position where the next generation of homeowners decides not to move to North Olmsted because of the quality of our housing stock. A recent article from the Washington Post indicated that private equity investors have bought up single-family houses at alarming rates in 2021. And I think we can all recall a time when this also happened back in 2006, 2007, 2008. Cleveland.com ran a story just last month entitled, "Cuyahoga County Overrun by Out-of-Town Property Owners, Leaving Advocates Worried." This is why I'm proposing that our city create a home repair revolving loan fund. This much needed assistance will provide low cost and in some cases forgivable loans to income eligible homeowners. For example, a family of 4 earning less than $79,500 would be eligible for home repair assistance. The second part of our reinvesting in our neighborhoods means that we need to reinvest in community assets that our residents treasure and depend upon. A June 2021 study conducted by AARP found that adults aged 50 plus are experiencing increased anxiety, depression, and lack of interest in doing things. Our seniors are treasures. They hold our history and our heritage of our neighborhoods and our places. Our senior center is valued as a community asset, and it has a great need of improvements to enhance service delivery and expand their ability to serve the senior citizens of our community. Our seniors deserve a safe and welcoming gathering space that can be enjoyed for another generation of senior citizens. Many residents in our city of North Olmsted have attended countless birthday parties, baby showers, and community events and community meetings at our community cabin. The community cabin is not just a gathering space, it's a revenue generating asset in our city. The community cabin is available for rent and is in competition against similar spaces in our region. We need to ensure that this revenue generating asset is upgraded and continues to be a resource for our community. Next is improving our city services. Governments at all levels are undergoing a digital transformation in order to deliver government services and programs more efficiently. Automating manual processes, unifying citizen experiences, and using data analytics to drive decision-making is the future of good government. This is a key part of making our city services more efficient, transparent, and accountable. It's imperative that we build a 21st century digital government platform to better serve our residents. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I am talking about. If you want to open a new business in the city of North Olmsted, you need to look at our static PDF zoning map, attempt to find your zoning classification, download the development review application, fill it out, print it, and sign the document. Once you're done with that, you can either call in where our permit technicians take your credit card information over the phone, or come into City Hall to process your payment and to get your zoning certificate. To me, that is unacceptable. Part of being business friendly and creating a strong economic development ecosystem is making your process more accessible. In 2022, 92% of internet users access the internet on their mobile devices. You should be able to apply for, e-sign, pay, and receive a permit digitally without ever leaving your office. This is the speed of business. This is governing in the 21st century. The second piece of governing in the 21st century is using data to drive decision making. So one more example. Our current pavement condition rating system requires the city engineer to visually inspect the roads in our city and assign a number grade of 1 through 10. That information lives on a static spreadsheet. At Lorain County Community College, they have sensor technology that can monitor the biofeedback of fighter pilots in combat. The technology is here, and we need to leverage it. I want to utilize data analytics to create a PCR system that relies on sensor technology to rate our streets. I want that information to live on an interactive map where all residents can see their streets rating in real time, including council members who are constantly being asked, what is my street rated at? This is just one small example of how data can better be leveraged to drive decision making. And this is government in the 21st century. Finally, I want to create a state-of-the-art citizen GIS portal where our residents can access all of this information at their fingertips. Road conditions, zoning, utilities, street lights, all mapped, all interactive, and all updated in real time. In an increasingly digital world, citizens demand that information be accessible, interactive, and live. We need to embrace this as a city and rebuild government services for the 21st century. In closing, I thank you. Thank you, Councilman Broussard, Council President Broussard, for allowing us to present to the community of the whole, to allow our administration to put forward a bold vision for the future of our city. And I just want to close by encouraging you all to think bold about the future of our city, because I think we depend on you to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Very refreshing approach. So I just want to open it up to comments, not questions, because we're going to have an in-depth committee meeting on the subject. Councilman Glasper.
Thank you. If anyone was paying attention to the election last year, a lot of these ideas sound very familiar. One thing I would like to see for our more in-depth meeting is a little bit of an indication as to which of these items you would intend to carry over into the second round of this funding, and which ones are one-time, so to speak.
Sure. I mean, I can just give a quick answer, Mr. President.
Please do, Mayor.
Sure. So, the items that we brought forward in this tranche of funding is this would be paid for all through just this tranche. So that second 1.6, we haven't even touched yet. We're not discussing. This is money in the bank that we have. So this is why we're bringing this to you right now.
Thank you.
Councilman Limper.
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up, I see that they're all for implementation of these to get them installed with the one-time funding, but some of these seem like they would be ongoing costs of management and maintenance. So are those things that are then going to be incorporated into a second phase or into just regular general fund? And one example I'm thinking of is this portal, right? Like that's going to take ongoing management, maintenance, update, tracking of those data points. So just trying to understand whether those ongoing costs or total cost of ownership, so to speak, are captured in your plan, or where are they going to be addressed?
The council president to Mr. Limper, you're absolutely correct. Some of these will have ongoing expenses. The efficiencies realized, the amount of painstaking paper process and labor intensive process that we have now, the efficiencies that is the paper. But that being said, the funding, the regulation allows that so long as you allocate the funding by December 31st of 2024, you can pay for it through 2026. That gives us a pretty long runway to implement the program, realize the efficiencies of scale, and then be able to budget a pay for 2026 moving forward.
Thank you.
Any other counts? Councilwoman Williamson?
Thank you, Mayor, for working with council. I know the safety issue with getting our officers back on the street has been very important for a number of years. And I thank you for actually including it and working on it and making this come to fruition. Thank you.
Councilwoman Hunter?
Hey, just one other point, in your kind of, objectives for the SCRAM program. One thing I didn't see is related to monitoring and compliance as it relates to the information. I think that just would be an important part of explaining that program of how is that camera information requested and protected. You know, a lot of times when people hear that all their neighbors' cameras are gonna be available for, you know, monitoring by the city, they'd like to better understand like that there's a control problem, which I think Chief Wagner already explained to us when we were talking about budget, but you know, I think it's just an important communication point is all I'm saying. So, yeah, you don't, it's more of a comment than a question. Thank you.
Mr. Council President, if I could, it's still a voluntary program, and there's actually a form we already have online that would be very similar to this program, where it's an opt-in, and you give permission, and then we would be able to have access. We'd ask for that permission. But what's nice about SCRAM is it's the second part where it's actively mapped, and we can see information going in real time. So it would still be an opt-in registry for your camera.
Yeah, I think you misunderstood my question. I fully understand how to opt into the program. I think questions are just to make sure that it's communicated. And Chief Wagner, as I said, Chief Wagner explained the program to us as a council in our budget hearings. But I think, you know, the monitoring, controlling, how people get how the city can get access to information is just an important talking point that residents might want to know as you're kind of rolling this program out.
Mr. Lindbergh, in this particular SCRAM, there is a really, the key piece of it is the outreach, and that's accounted for in the SCRAM marketing, the SCRAM proposal. So there will be a PIO, a public information outreach campaign, where maybe social media, maybe it's YouTube videos, maybe it's Chief Wagner talking to business owners and working with the mayor and myself to maybe go to business networking to discuss those types of things as to why a business ought to opt in, why a homeowner ought to opt in. So we acknowledge that the PIO part of this is very, very important to getting people to actually register. Because you can imagine how powerful it is if you show up to a crime scene and all of a sudden you pull up the SCRAM map and you know 6 cameras that are there and you can solve the crime a lot quicker.
Councilwoman Williamson?
In regard to this, I think too is letting the residents know that it's, they give up the video. It's not like the police have 24/7 capability to access their cameras and see what's coming in and out of their house.
Thank you for hitting my concern and communication points.
Yes.
Okay, so I think you understand what I think we want to hear as a follow-up next week.
Absolutely.
All right, great. Any other questions or comments, I should say? Councilwoman?
One last, the improvements to the community cabin, will that include the busy room? Or is that round 2?
So, Mr. President, and Councilman, this particular tranche of money will not include the gazebo. However, we have bigger plans for that park. I think that council will be hearing about, and that includes the gazebo issue. So, yeah. So just, you know, we'll get you these details at your committee meeting next week. But just generally speaking, the improvements we're talking about for the community cabin are entirely inside.
Okay, seeing no other comments, we will close the committee of the whole meeting at at 7:24 p.m.
Yeah. It's better than the snow.
Because she wants his email, he's talked to her. She wants his email.
I mean, I never really.
I see your name. I'm getting she's phone number, call them up, email address.
Satisfied with it?
I told her, I
agree, but
she goes, she's a cute girl. Question her, not their phone.
Who's gonna fix the clock?
So the.
Who's gonna fix the clock?
I'll fix it, I just don't wanna put it back up.
I heard about it.
5 minutes.
Alright, what's the actual time?
7:26.
Well, no, don't we wanna make it 5 minutes slow as opposed to
What's his
fast?
word again?
Isn't that what it always used to be, it always used to be slow?
Oh my
I
gosh.
don't know, it's
So
the
when-
correct time now.
So people were,
Broken director of economic development.
you can fix that.
Thank you.
I felt bad, I thought I was 5 minutes late there for a second. Not that far off.
You were right on time. No, I'm not, yeah, the computer clock said so.
It's huge.
Okay.
I think Chuck wants to work
Both of those exactly. He's
Familiar with this
Am I
resident
gonna let
ordinance
you
issue?
go? Okay.
I know, I
That was it, and then you wouldn't do your time sheets, right, because you're so busy working 12, 14 hours. Then you had to scramble and do them, and it was like literally the whole month.
It's already.
And I used to write down like the moving into the do their close stepping back to the ones just because I didn't want to do all of that. And so I wrote down everything, no matter what I was doing.
Hey, I got a clue.
I know, but thanks for learning it. I've been the second time you start saying it.
Saturday was a nice day.
Read the whole backstory here.
I'll probably do it again like a month.
If you can be reasonable when else talk to them, then it appears that case, but
It's almost 4.
Since it's a donation.
I don't know who it is.
I can send it.
You're the first one to know that.
I would just probably
One
okay.
was as recent as 2 weeks ago, where Bob observed it.
Just go anywhere now? Just go to the.
No.
Don't do that. And on the speaking part.
He said he was just going to find out
What's
where
it,
they
what's it
lived.
done in the newsroom, cause,
He's reporting that, and of course, they send around all the police that are in, and it's been.
I think he would do all building and no zoning appeals.
So unless extreme situations like this, he's just a what I would do is on some days I would just over and say, please be a good neighbor and you're entitled to walk your dog. Let's put it about your neighbor, so I just consider that, and appreciate it. You're 100% within your rights to.
Yes, look, you
So I would something like that. You know, on the surface, it's not important. Like this guy will just keep doing that. That's not
Duly noted.
Yeah.
shower and whatnot.
Consensus of.
I have folks who call me a lot. This is not one of them.
You wanna push them to the next.
No.
Okay. Because it may be the
New section 11, 39, 13.
Oh, yeah. We need some time on that. That's gonna have a public hearing.
Alright, so then I'm gonna do 5 minutes next. Huh?
Yeah, Mary.
Record it, Pat.
No, we gotta do the public hearing first, right?
We're gonna wait on that.
Okay, so
Because we don't know if we're gonna be able to. West Slopes.
I know.
Chris?
Defer to me.
Right.
I'm so sorry.
So long as,
7.
so long as everything that I have done or been started.
Next week is final.
Go ahead, Ben.
That's the only thing, right?
I was just trying to find out. What we should do next week.
All right, streets and transportation meeting start at 7:32 PM. President is all of council, mayor, law director, finance director, HR director, economic director, safety director, service director, and guests. We're here to talk about 2022-25, a resolution authorizing the mayor to advertise for bids for rock salt for roadway ice and snow removal for use by the city of North Homestead, as detailed in the specifications on file, and further authorizing the mayor, after approval by the Board of Control, to enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder and declaring an emergency. Mr. Service Director.
Councilman Kelly, this should have been out to bid in January, but nobody's over in the, service department. It was over, it wasn't done. And so it's gotta be, that's why I'm asking for emergency annual, it's an annual contract.
You're asking for suspension of
Yes,
salt.
yes.
Okay. And this is a bulk purchase or a continual purchase? or
It's
what
a is it? Price for the year, but look, we don't have a big enough building up there for bulk, or for one delivery, so it's delivered all year. I mean,
So a continuous purchase throughout the
Yes.
year is needed.
yes.
Okay. Any questions from committee? From council? And do we need to amend this for suspension tonight, or?
No.
No, okay. All right, I move this to, go forward to all of council and ask for a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's goes 4-3-0, and the meeting ends at 7:34.
I was asking you tough